The time machine does work. Now this, albeit after a very lengthy montage of stealing parts and trying...
Needle drop.
Big needle drop. Hit it.
Needle drop on this
got,
montage. James? We got Disney musical artists Ali and AJ. You remember those two? Yeah, you do. Their song Like Whoa plays over this montage. It's going to be one of two Radio Disney hits in this movie. One of them being an original to the movie.
I was a fan of the music in this movie. That is for sure.
Hey, what's poppin', Colonels? What is dippin', my dogs? You are tuning in to another Just Play It podcast where we review movies, classics, bombs, flops, made-for-TV movies. Holy cow. I am one of your hosts. I'm Captain Pop. I'm a maestro of the microwave. I'm a concession stand kid. And I can't be a person in line waiting to get my snacks without my best friend, my numero uno amigo, my co-host. It's Nick the Corn Dog Justice. Welcome in, buddy.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, TV movie being the key phrase you said there in your opening. But yeah, I'm excited, my guy. This one's going to be quite the adventure. How you doing today, by the way?
I'm doing well. Work is keeping me nice and busy, but this is the thing that is number one in my mind. I am dedicated to pumping out content and updating our YouTube videos and our YouTube page and our socials. I honestly, Nick, I think about this podcast more than I do my actual job. So that's how I'm doing. I'm happy to be here. Long story short.
Love to hear that. And I can echo the sentiments. These days, our recording days, I am so absent at work because I'm looking forward to this so much. And I just can't wait to get on and discuss movies, good and bad, especially the bad. Definitely the bad.
We watch a lot of bad movies. And this ain't no rom-com. This is a DCOM, baby. Because it's Disney Channel Original Movie Week, where it's an annual tradition. We spin a wheel of a lot. Actually, they pump out a lot of Disney Channel Original movies back in the day. I read somewhere. I was trying to find out about the budget and money and how much money goes into it because it's made for TV, so there's no budget or box office, obviously. At one point, it said they pumped out a movie every month. And I could totally believe that back in the early 2000s. So if for those Gen Z listeners, if you even exist listening to us, back in the day, Disney Channel original movies were the stuff to watch. You had to be there, B Square, 8/7 Central. The new Disney Channel original movie was premiering on Disney Channel Friday. You got to check it out and talk about it on Monday. Or if it was a summer movie, you'd hang out with your friends and chat it up about it. It was a big deal.
Big deal.
Huge deal.
And sometimes you're just trying to catch a rerun of some of your favorites. And that was hard to do.
Oh, when they throw on a marathon of DCOMs. Whoo, sheesh.
Forget about it. That was binge watching. That was like the early binge watching days.
Life was good. Well, with this being a Disney Channel original movie, Nick, I dropped a bomb at the end of last week's episode. I have some rules. With this being made for TV and made for kids, this is our one episode out of the year where we cannot swear. So anything that is allowed in a rated G movie is fine. But no big F, no big S, no big A, no big D, no big B, no other big D.
Just saying big D is making me giggle, but all right.
Do you have any questions about what you can't say?
I'm aware. I think we're good.
No sexual innuendos. Can't say cum. COME.
I don't know how much time we've done a joke on this pod, but I got it.
Can't say jizz. Can't say jizz. That's your warning. And this applies for the entire episode. You just said
come.
I said it. You can say here comes the mail, but you can't say the mailman is gonna come on you. I'll have to bleep that out with something, but I'm just letting you know. You can't.
Yeah, I think I got that.
Okay.
I didn't think dropping F-bombs was bad, but
so not the splooge version.
The mailman coming was good. Yeah, I wasn't confused about that.
Well, that's also an innuendo. All right, we'll just try and keep it clean. If we do swear, if we do slip up, Nick, that's $1 in the swear jar, which might come into play as a prize pool at the end of the year episode when we get into some quiz portions. So watch your mouth over there, all right? And I'll try and watch mine because we swear like some pirates. Yar.
So I've heard. Well, James, we can't get this episode started until we do our weekly warm-up.
Yes! All right, so if you are new to the channel, or if you just need a reminder, the Cinematrix quiz, it's a 3x3 grid quiz. We get actors on one side, we get categories on the other, and we have 9 squares. We get 9 guesses, so 1 guess per square. If we miss one, then we're not going to go perfect, and we're always trying to go perfect. We are on a perfect streak. I think we're on 7-week streak maybe at this point.
That sounds right to me.
7 straight quizzes, we've gone perfect. So we're going to make this a great number 8. And not only that, we're trying to be the best players of the day, which means we're going to guess the most obscure and rarest movies. We've gotten a little bit hosed on a couple of our answers, or, oh, I didn't know documentaries counted, or I didn't know shorts counted, because we're focusing on movies. But now we know the name of the game. So we're going to keep that in mind and keep this party going. Nick, who do we have for our actors? I'm looking at them. I'm feeling pretty good.
Me too. Our actors are Mark Ruffalo, Mark Wahlberg, and Rosario Dawson.
And our categories are 2000 to 2009, number in title, and 3+ words in title. So I'm going to say it right off the bat, Nick. This is going to be a perfect 8 in a row. Not even a question.
I'd be pretty upset if it wasn't. The question is, how rare can we get with our answers?
Pretty rare, because we know movies, because I am Captain Pop, and you are the corn dog. So let's get this quiz started, and we invite everybody listening and watching to play along. Nick, where would you like to start here?
Let's do it like we always do. Top left, let's just start sweeping through these categories.
Mark Ruffalo, release date, number and title, 3+ words in the title. So I'm going to filter through my obvious answers here and try to go for those raries.
So release date, James, we've definitely talked about this before. We want movies in which we have watched, if it applies. And we did watch a movie with a Mark Ruffalo cameo from 2000 to 2009. Do you recall what movie that was? If
I'm
you
looking
recall,
through all of our movies. Hold on. I'm looking through all of our movies. I got nothing. What do we got? What are you thinking about?
He did have a small little part that we saw in Wind Talkers.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that's right. Well, that was such a forgettable movie. That's why I didn't remember that. That's got to be a really good answer. That's going to be a really good answer. All right, let's hit
Mark Ruffalo, Wind Talkers.
Yep.
1%.
Nick Corn Justice is goated at this game. Honestly,
we just get better the more movies we watch.
For realsies. Okay, so I have an obvious one for number and title.
Okay,
it's gonna be 13 going on 30.
The only other one I could think of was Now You See Me 2, and that was what I had.
I would probably go with that one. I haven't seen that, and I have no idea if he's in that, but I 100% believe you and have full trust in you. And I would say that would be less thought of than 13 going on 30. I think that's one of his most famous, or memorable, I should say.
Did he make a cameo in any of the Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3 movies?
Yes.
I want to say Iron Man 3. Yeah.
So Iron Man 3, Tony Stark is talking to Bruce Banner. We think he's narrating to the audience, but he's actually talking to Bruce Banner. But it is a post-credit scene, and I feel like I tried it on a quiz off the pod one day, and it didn't work. But
okay,
that should count.
Do you want to give it a shot?
I want to give it a shot.
Iron Man 3?
Yeah.
Iron Man 3 it is. Here we go. 12%.
12%. It worked, baby.
Did work.
It worked. Nice call out there.
Yeah, 3+ words in title. I have a few. Obviously, Now You See Me, Now You See Me 2, any of the Avengers, Age of Ultron, Endgame, Infinity War. The Adam Project, which was something recent with Ryan Reynolds that I thought was a great movie. Yep. Those are things I've thrown out.
We could do The Adam Project. I think that's pretty kind of came and went on Netflix.
Yeah, but really good, actually. Very much liked the movie. Would recommend. Adam Project it is.
It's a oneer. Let's go. Here we go.
Ooh.
All right, moving down, pumping through this quiz. Mark Wahlberg release date. Now, this is going to be a very obvious one, and like we say, with movies we watched on the pod, we feel inclined to throw them in the quiz as an honor to them. This is a movie we watched this year, and it was the movie I picked because it was a favorite of mine back in high school, and that would be 2005's Four Brothers. What do you say, Nick?
I think I would like to do that for number and title.
Oh, that's right. That's a sneaky one for number and title because I forget you can spell it out.
Yeah, I'm going Four Brothers. We have.
Let's go. Okay, we're switching over to number and title, and we're going Four Brothers because it was a movie we watched, and it is gonna be 14%. All right.
Very nice.
We can dig it.
So release date 2000 to 2009.
I'm thinking the Italian Job is in that realm.
Do you remember that one where the bees were dying? The Happening?
The M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong one?
Yeah.
The 07 joint?
He did that. We Own the Night with I think Phoenix. Then he did Shooter. He was on a roll there in the mid 2000s.
Shooter. I like Shooter, just as a movie, and possibly as an answer to this quiz.
So I'd probably vote for The Happening, We Own the Night.
It's before he got into his comedy roles, so it is a lot of dramas and action movies. I actually like Shooter because I feel like people don't know about that movie.
I feel like it's popular. Maybe that's just in my action.
It's popular with us because it's awesome. But let's take a guess. Yup.
8%.
We out here.
Okay.
3+ words in title. Okay, so we have a couple Transformers movies. Mm-hmm. There was that movie he did with The Rock called Pain and Gain with the Michael Bay joint. The Other Guys is a favorite of ours.
The Other Guys, for sure. The recent one, The Family Plan, I know he did.
Was he in a water rig one recently where the water rig goes down?
What was that called? Deep Horizon Dawn? Or was it just Deep Horizon?
I think it's just Deepwater Horizon. Deepwater Horizon.
Deepwater, I think, is one word.
He's done a bunch of just rando action movies that came and went completely underneath the radar.
I like The Other Guys. Just because it's such a fan favorite of ours.
It is a fan favorite. I don't want it to be a people favorite, though. So do you think that's going to be well guessed, or do you think it's going to be sneaky enough?
We could do an Avengers Age of Ultron, or whatever the next one was called, The Last Night, I think it was.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about Transformers.
Transformers, yeah, sorry.
You said Age of Ultron. To be fair, Ultron is very it's a very Transformer-y name.
Yeah.
That'd be a wild mashup. I think Transformers actually might be pretty well guessed, so I would say...
That's my thought. Pain and Gain?
Let's do Pain and Gain.
Pain and Gain. Here we go. 11%. Let's end this with release date 2000-2009. Rosario Dawson. What do you got?
I have a answer for 3+ words in the title. It's one of my favorite movies ever. It's a Spike Lee joint.
He Got Game?
It's He Got Game.
He Got Game. Hell yeah. It's a Denzel joint. 3+ words in the title. Rosario Dawson. He Got Game. 11%.
11%. Okay, we're looking nice and healthy here. Number and title.
The only thing my mind goes to here is Men in Black 2. She's Laura, right? She's the main female protagonist.
I'm trying to think of just sequels that she would have been in.
Yeah, Men in Black 2 is really my best
We can come back to that one in case we think of another one. But what do you got for a release date?
For release date, I was going to go with Sin City. That was my best go. I do know that in the DC animated movies, she voices Wonder Woman, but I can't tell you which title she voices Wonder Woman for, so I can't confidently...
I wouldn't even be able to tell you what the animated DC movies even are titled. Okay, well, we have some answers. I'm trying to take a quick 10 seconds to see if I can think of anything better. Oh, Nick, another pod movie for release date. Can you think of it? I'm gonna make you suffer now.
Okay, give me a second.
I'll give you some time because I was given a lot of time.
Release date. Adventures of Pluto Nash?
Adventures of Pluto Nash from 2002.
Yeah.
Have to do it. Not the Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, but Pluto Nash. 1%. It's a wonder, baby. I feel good about that. I'm doing my best Nick Justice impression right now.
Wow. That's a great call.
Thank you. I was trying to think. I was like, did we say her name on this podcast before? Answer was yes.
That's a great call. Number and title. Was she in Clerks 2? I have this vague recollection. But Men in Black 2, I mean, we've just been killing this quiz.
Yeah, I don't have anything. As much as I would hate for that to throw up a big number in the system, I feel like I don't have anything. I can't say anything, so I'm okay with Men in Black 2. Let's give it a whip.
Let's do it.
17.
Only 17%. That puts us
in
the top 2% of players today.
Tying records today, Nick. This is the third time we've gotten top 2%. That top one is elusive as frick. What the heck? Okay, let's go over the most popular answers. I already see a couple here, actually, that we've shouted out, so I'm glad we didn't do that. Oh, wow, there's a lot here. Okay, so we're going to start out with Mark Ruffalo. The most popular for a release date was Zodiac. I was thinking about that. Number and title was 13 going on 30. And the most popular 3+ words in the title is Avengers Infinity War.
Mark Wahlberg, 2000 to 2009, we have The Departed. Number and title, it was Ted 2. And 3+ words in the title, James, way to talk me out of it because it was The Other Guys.
Yeah, I think it's grown in popularity and people know that movie. And it's as loved as it is in the world as it is with our inner circle. Moving down to Rosario Dawson. Most popular for release date was Rent. Most popular for number and title was Clerks 2. So way to not go there.
Glad I'm surprised, I didn't remember that better. Yeah.
I'm surprised. And 3+ words in the title is going to be Josie and the Pussycats. Look at that. We're dodging bullets left and right. Now let's go over the most rare answers. Nick, what do we have for Mr. Mark Ruffs?
For Mark Ruffalo, release date 2000 to 2009 was Apartment 12. Number and title was also Apartment 12. And 3+ words in the title, All the King's Men.
And most rare for Mark Wahlberg, release date is going to be The Lovely Bones. Mile 22. That was the movie I was trying to remember. I said he's done these random action movies with numbers in them. And the rarest answer for Mark Wahlberg, 3+ words in the title, is The Truth About Charlie. Never heard of it.
Yeah, well, if you never heard of that, get ready for Rosario Dawson, my friend.
Oh, jeez.
Most rare answer, release date 2000 to 2009, is an animated something called The Haunted World of El Super Bisto.
Looks like a cracked out Futurama.
Yeah, Futurama meets
crack.
Nacho Libre. Number and title is The First 20 Million is Always the Hardest. And 3+ words in the title, we are back to The Haunted World of El Super Bisto. So people cheat.
Yeah, this is Nick's catchphrase at this point in the quiz. People cheat. All right, Nick. Well, with the quiz put away, the weight is off our shoulders. Another perfect week. We are 8 quizzes in a row. We're killing it. I'm so proud of us. But now we got to get down to business. We are watching Minutemen from 2008. And last time we were doing this, when we were reviewing Kingdom of the Crystal Skull for our franchise of the year, we had a spinning wheel of all the DCOM movies. And I specifically had it stop at 2008 because I want a chance to watch Camp Rock because I see all the memes about that movie on socials. So we were one click away from Camp Rock, but instead of landing on the summer release of 2008, we got the January release of 2008. And that's going to be a movie that neither of us have ever heard of, called Minutemen. And it looked like a time-traveling bonanza out here.
2008 was past my DCOM phase. I wasn't really watching DCOM movies, so had never heard of this, no idea it came out. You know, there's about 60 to 70% of movies on that list. I was aware of their existence. This is not one of them. So this was a fresh watch for me, and oh boy.
Let me ask you something. When was the year you stopped watching DCOM movies? Because I can pinpoint mine, actually.
I would probably say 04, 05.
It's exactly where I am. I think it was when Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off came out. That might have been one of the last ones I watched. And then the Cheetah Girls came out. And then that was when I moved on to high school and I was too cool for school and just got totally disconnected from Disney Channel, the shows, the movies. I was like, who are these new actors? What's Hannah Montana? What's going on? I don't know. What is life right now?
Yeah. High School Musical also came out, during high school. And I think every high school male didn't like that because all the girls had crushes on Zac Efron. We can't watch a movie with a teenage heartthrob.
We hate stiff competition.
We do not like it. So once he was out, once Zac Efron was making the rounds on Disney Channel, I mean, there's no way.
It's funny that you brought up High School Musical because that was the game changer for Disney because like we said, for the budget, we don't know what it is. And pre-High School Musical, a lot of the budgets were around the $4 million range. And I can only assume that's exactly what this one was. And so was that, but that popped off. This is pre-Glee, #pre-Glee, and it became a worldwide phenomenon, and it ultimately grossed $4 billion for Disney, ultimately, because of the franchise itself, probably some merch, the concert tours, and then the movie box office for High School Musical 3. So that, the inception from High School Musical in 06, changed the game. So you can kind of divide DCOMs in two categories. You can go BC and you go AD, and that's going to be High School Musical at year 0, the nexus point. That was, we have potential to make money because with DCOMs, where's the money at? Cable subscriptions, commercials?
Not anymore, my friend.
But Nick, who is at the helm? Who's in our chair? Who is on the slate for this one?
So on the slate is a man by the name of Lev L. Spiro. Look this guy up on IMDb. He's done a lot of random, one episode to anywhere between 1 and 5 episode sprints on a ton of TV shows, but does have a couple notable movies. And I say notable because this is a DCOM movie. I'd expect some more wholesome stuff, but he did direct Blue Mountain State, the one about Thadland. And then he also directed Beverly Hills Chihuahua 3, Viva La Fiesta.
So they didn't bring back the directors of Beverly Hills Chihuahua 1 and 2. They had to bring in Lev.
They're probably busy, man.
They probably made it big. And he said, it's my turn to direct dogs, baby. Well, starring in this movie is going to be some kids I've never heard of. One is going to be Jason Dolley. The next one is going to be Luke Benward. And our third kid is going to be Nicholaus Braun. So Jason Dolley, apparently straight out of Simi Valley. That's where my wife is from. And I said, hey, do you have any inside dirt on this kid? And she said, everyone said he was a nice church-going young lad. So, no, I don't have any TMZ quotes for you, unfortunately.
Just a good guy. Good for him.
Just a wholesome little boy. And Luke Benward is actually in a relationship with Ariel Winter. Ariel Winters? Winters?
Yeah, from Modern Family.
Who is Alex Dunphy from Modern Family. And Nicholaus Braun, top-tier facial recognition from my wife, straight out of Simi Valley. Usually it's me, but she watched the show Succession, and he is Emmy nominated because he is Cousin Greg on Succession, HBO. So he made it big. Way to go, Nicholaus Braun. We out here.
Okay,
dog.
Our guys are doing all right. That's good to know.
Yeah, and speaking of doing all right, Nick, can I just share some viewership ratings from the week ending January 27th, 2008?
I'd love to hear.
Via archive.org, can you guess what was the highest rated program with week ending January 27th, 2008?
Was it Minutemen?
Minutemen, baby. So they are doing big things. And just to finish off the top 10 list, next in line, we had Zoe 101 for 2 and 3 spots. Movie Life After People on the History Channel. Number 5, we're going to be coming in with Monk.
I love Monk.
Number 6 is going to be another USA Channel program. It's going to be WWE Raw.
I love Raw.
Coming in, you're not going to love this one. Coming in at number 7 was the Democratic debate on CNN.
In January?
Yeah, you got to get the people pumped up
the primaries debate, I guess.
Yeah, you got to get people pumped up. We love politics, so that's sick. The Democratic debate on CNN is sandwiched in between WWE Raw because that's coming in at number 8. Another USA program, Psych. Remember that show?
I love Psych.
You would have loved this week in programming.
I watched a lot of USA.
Number 10 is also going to be Minutemen. I guess maybe that was the rerun portion of it. But
man, double spots.
11 through infinity apparently was SpongeBob on Nickelodeon.
That checks out.
It was killer. So Minutemen's doing big things. It's got an interesting director. It's got some nice little kids acting in it, and one of them went on to be on an HBO show, so good for him. So Nick, I think we need to dissect this puppy, get into it, and we're going to do 2 things before we get into plot talk here. I'm going to read this log line, and then while I do that, I would love for you to cue up the trailer, because since we are on YouTube these days, we can show off trailers and show our reactions and kind of give us and the audience a hint of what we have to look forward to. So our log line is going to be a comedy / sci-fi / adventure about 3 high school kids who invent a 10-minute time machine. I didn't know it was 10 minutes to spare others just like them from the humiliation they've endured. Seriously, did they disclaim that it was 10 minutes only?
The log line's incorrect. Just
okay.
Off the bat.
Well, that's our start. Let's hit this trailer.
Got my 2 best guys right here.
I'm your favorite though, right? Dude, don't tell me you're gonna try to steal my girl.
This is ominous to start.
For Virgil, it's a short trip from zero.
Build something useful, something that makes you popular.
It's a hero.
To hero.
I knew
What you're looking at is practical time travel.
You're 14 years old. I'm supposed to believe you can build a time machine?
Get ready.
Whoa.
Get set.
Who wants to be the world's first time traveler?
Go back.
It's terrible that Stephanie fell off the top of the pyramid. Ah!
We can change that. We have
Stock
to go
audio.
Back. The Minutemen must use their powers for truth and justice.
We did it! Ah!
Count the minutes until Disney Channel's new original movie.
We created a black hole! We have less than 4 hours to the end of the world.
Starring Jason Dolley.
Virgil.
Don't go anywhere, I'll be right back. Minutemen, run! No!
Minutemen. Coming next month to Disney Channel.
I hear you're trying to save the world.
Big Brother's pretty cool, huh?
When you die, can I have your room?
Ayo.
All right.
And with that, we are going to jump into plot talk.
Plot talk.
So like our trailer showed us, we're at Somerton High School, and James, right off the bat, we're wearing some cheesy high school clothes. We got the long hair, bangs haircuts. terrible attitudes, high school attitudes, made up handshakes. We're just right in it. We're in 2008.
Bad acting right off the bat. That's the first thing that stuck out to me. I said, here we go.
It's going to be tough. But we're in high school, and we got football, cheerleading. We have some three amigos. We have Virgil, who's the good guy friend. We have Derek, who is the athlete. He's going to be the football player. And we have Stephanie, and she's not a girlfriend, but she's the friend who's a girl in the group at this point.
Can I point out something about Derek?
Yeah, hit me.
So I saw the name Stephen R. McQueen in the credits. And if you're thinking, is he related to Steve McQueen? The answer is yes. This is Steve McQueen's grandson, actually. And an article I found from December 2007 was titled McQueen on Clock for Disney's Minutemen. The subtitle was Stephen R. McQueen is revving up the family business. Okay. Calm down. He is not Steve McQueen. He has not done anything on the level of Steve McQueen yet. But yes, this is nepotism going to work here, baby. He's related to the famous white actor, not the director of 12 Years a Slave. Moving on.
So in our introduction to our characters, their freshman year of high school, we're going to have what's referred to in the movie as the incident. And what's going to happen here is our boy Charlie, he's super genius. He's jumped too many grades. So he's a freshman at the age of, I don't know what, he's 10, 11.
Yeah,
maybe.
But it's, he's 10, but then we time jump and he still looks the same age, which is a problem.
Yeah. So we're going to ignore that for now. He builds himself a super cart, drives it onto the field. Derek's out there trying out for quarterback. He sucks. This football practice is so disjointed. Don't even get me started on it.
Nick, as a former high school football player, how was his form?
Awful. Awful.
Really?
It's,
okay.
Just terrible. I mean, he's supposed to be a freshman in high school. I can't give him too much slack, but the length the ball was going in the air was not proportional to his elbow flaring, whatever he was doing with the ball. But
Blake Lively playing soccer and the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Same energy there.
Yeah, trying to show kid actors as good at sports is
prime athletes.
Yeah, it's not going to work. But Charlie crashes. He's going to get beat up by the football team. Virgil's a good guy. He goes to defend Charlie. Derek and the football team beat him up, string him up from the school statue, paint lipstick on him, and then we get a 3-year time jump.
Jarring.
And yes, I was not expecting that. So we're seniors in high school now, and that friendship has fractured. So Virgil, Derek, Stephanie, they're not a crew anymore. But Virgil and Charlie, that day did build a strong bond between the two of them. So now they're best buds, even though Virgil still really wants to be a cool kid.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, this is going to be my first of many nitpicks. Charlie is the same exact age when he's a 10-year-old genius as he is when he's a 14-year-old genius in high school now. A low-budget DCOM movie, but there's going to be nitpicks galore here. And in this modern reality, we learn nerdy Charlie actually cracked the code for time travel. And he's looking at Virgil like, yo, dog, check out this stuff I got going on. But in order to build it, we have to enter the third amigo in the crew. And that would be a mechanic. Enter Zeke, who is Nicholaus Braun.
He's shown as a dumb meathead, very quiet. I think they say his dad races monster trucks or something. Very, he's scary. He rides a motorcycle to school. He's that senior. But when they actually talk to him about the time machine, he understands all the science. So he's the trope of the meathead who's actually smart. Whatever.
He was
past that.
Kind of like if Napoleon Dynamite was a greaser. He's a big mouth breather. So this guy's supposed to be tough because he's looking a little dopey over there.
Very, very dopey. But our time machine does work, and the reason we know that is because our heroes are way too scared to jump into it. So they find a cat in this room that they're in, that they have the time machine going.
Well,
and
they find it. It's Charlie's cat. It's not a random stray. And they just do an experiment on it.
He was just very conveniently there. They're like, just throw the cat into the time machine.
Yeah, they yeet the cat into the time vortex, and this is actually going to be our first of a few Back to the Future references. So the cat's name is actually Albert Feinstein. Get it? And it's a play on Doc Brown's dog, Einstein, who was the quote-unquote test subject in the first Back to the Future movie. I said, oh, okay, I could see your little nod to the king of time travel movies, if you will.
Your cat is the first time traveler in history.
What is the first thing you do, Nick, when you figure out you can time travel? You buy a lottery ticket.
And Virgil says that's the first thing we're going to do.
Very real, very realistic goal. And I said, yeah.
Exactly what I would do. So there's this little gag. They go back, go to get a lottery ticket with the winning numbers. They're not 18, so they can't buy this lottery ticket. Although I feel like Zeke should be 18 at this point in the game, riding his motorcycle, whatever. All these seniors, none of them are 19. And so they asked this street performer known as Robot Man the whole time, and he makes the noises. He's just miming as a robot. They get him to buy the lottery ticket for them. They go, "Oh, we'll be back tomorrow, so hold on to the ticket."
So dumb.
But
this was so dumb because they said, "Hey, can you buy a lottery ticket?" And he says, "You got to give me a tip." Well, he doesn't say it because he just mimes everything. And they say, "Oh, we got to go back." So I guess this was a hint that they had a time limit because my nitpick. But did they have to be in a specific place? So
we have no idea how they return.
Yeah, a huge nitpick.
Nitpicks.
How does the time machine work? We know they go back in time by jumping into a vortex later on via a diving board because it's fun. But I never knew how they made it back to the present.
We never really saw where they got dumped into the past either.
Also, when they jump into the vortex, do they go back into that fallout shelter where the time machine is underneath the school in an old fallout shelter that is defunct? But do they go there or do they go on the ground or what?
That's what I'm saying, because these kids spend all their time in that fallout shelter. So if you fell back into the past fallout shelter, you just see yourself. We never run into the seeing your past self phenomenon from time travel movies.
Oh, no, we do.
They're always around where they were, but we only see it during the incident. That's it.
Yeah.
In time travel movies, you're always supposed to run into the altering the past and the
one who's going back in time is supposed to avoid the person who doesn't know that. But yes,
right.
The version of
we never see the past. They're like, we're not doing the camera tricks. We can't have two actors on screen, guys. We don't have the budget for that.
We don't have the Parent Trap technology. Sorry. But this was really dumb because they say, oh, we have to go back. I thought they had to go back to school, but I guess it was the timer on the time travel thing. And they say, we'll meet you here tomorrow. Just keep it. And how suspicious is it that they're coming up with a newspaper of the winning lottery ticket? And they say, hey, can you order a lottery ticket with these numbers on it? Oh, don't cash it. We'll be back. Dumb move, kids. Because guess what? Robot Man cashes the lottery ticket and he is rich now. So
later on, we see him rolling in a Benz because he's just
still as a robot man. Still as a robot man. You made it, my guy. Give up the shtick.
Well, you're assuming that he's being a robot to support himself when being a robot is who he is. So
that's a great point.
Get off your soapbox there. Let people do be what they're meant to be. But our heroes decide that they're going to use our time machine for good, and their version of good is to help other nerdy kids. So a kid gets pantsed or has his clothes stolen after gym class, they're going to go back and prevent that from happening. A kid gets, tripped in the cafeteria or slips carrying food, spills it all over the place. Boom. We're going to stop that from happening. And they do end up calling themselves the Minutemen. And I'm like, oh, they said the thing.
They're out here. They do end up being called the snowsuit guys because I think they said something about time travel is cold or the temperatures are very low, so they have to wear snowsuits, and that's their kind of costume / uniform.
Because it's cold. I think it's cold in the wormhole.
In the void. But on their helping nerds journey, and it was so annoying because they messed up the lotto ticket thing, and then they decided, oh, we can't do it. And Charlie says, we can't do it because it's wrong. And then Virgil just accepts it. And then he's like, you're right. And then so they have this great technology, and then they get the spark of, we got to go back and help our fellow comrades who get embarrassed by school bullies. And there's a kid named Chester who has his clothes stolen. And this is the first instance we get of their Good Samaritan deeds. And this vice principal, who I need to call out, this is JP Manu. He's the fake dean from Community. You remember that?
I saw it and I'm like, this is the dean. And then I'm like,
Yeah,
wait,
but
that's
the fake dean.
No. Well, first he's fake Moby, and then he's also fake dean. Yes. He acts the exact same as the dean in this movie.
Yeah, and my wife was super confused. She said, "Oh, that's the dean from Community." I said, "No, it's fake dean." And they made a joke about it in Community that he looks and talks just like the dean. And it's confusing too because he plays the vice principal, so he's in a similar position. Very jarring. But this vice principal just allows Chester to get bullied. He says, what are you doing with no clothes on? Like, good luck with that, buddy. And then later on, he says everybody has their place and everybody needs to stay in their place. He's enforcing a class system at the school.
Yeah. He says, if I intervene now, I'm going to mess with the delicate social structure at this school, and I can't do that. Whoa, buddy.
A little weird. So Chester, when he has no clothes, he gets put into some hip hop inspired fit in the new timeline. And I was cool with it, but it was the $sign chain that I thought,
Flavor Flavy.
Disney, what are we doing here, guys?
Well, our heroes are going to continue helping around town. Whenever they save somebody, we get some cheers from the crowd, like, way to go, snowsuit guys.
All right, the snowsuit guys.
And in the meantime, we're being watched by what I refer to as the TVA, if you're familiar with Marvel. But really, they're just NASA nerds who are noticing anomalies in the space-time continuum or something. And this is because Charlie tells our heroes he stole this technology from NASA.
Yeah, big bomb drop, as big as that needle drop in the time-saving montage, because this is our second Radio Disney hit. This is Run It Back Again by Corbin Bleu of High School Musical, and this was an original to the movie. But there's, a lot going on here. I'll talk about the TVA guys, but I want to talk about the montage scene real quick, because there's this scene at a local burger place, and there's this girl named Jocelyn who's a little bit of an antagonist role in this movie. And so there's a nerd kid named Eugene who works at this shop, and Jocelyn kind of flirts with him, and we learn it's going to be for a very malicious act of bullying later. And she says, "Can you bring the food to us? That would mean so much." And the ploy is that the floor is wet and she wants to see him slip and fall. Nick, this is not a wet floor. This floor is drenched. This is like a mini puddle on the ground. And one of the co-workers of Eugene walks by and just puts a wet sign there and walks away. Doesn't grab a mop. Doesn't say, "Hey, no, everybody here, this is a huge liability." Guess what Eugene does? He's walking over at the food, slips, almost kills himself by cracking his skull on the floor because of the giant puddle in the middle of the room. Oh, Jocelyn moved the caution wet floor sign, by the way, because she is a total weeotch. And Eugene totally eats crapola. And some guy says, "Way to go, Eugene."
Way to go, Eugene.
Zeke is at this burger place, and he witnesses this and says, "We got to go back in time and save Eugene." And then so the Minutemen come in, save Eugene. And then the guy who said, "Way to go, Eugene," the timeline changes and he says, "Way to go, Eugene." And it's all hoorays and hip hips for Minutemen Eugene. And it was egregious. It was egregious act. It was almost manslaughter, honestly.
Yeah, Jocelyn could have been charged with some serious crimes.
With assault.
But our heroes are finding out that their good deeds are backfiring because all of these nerds who are being saved by the snowsuit guys, by the Minutemen, are turning into mini celebrities And with that little taste of popularity, they're turned into some big old jerks. And so our Minutemen are saying, whoa, 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 maybe we don't want to, be involved with this too much. But right as we're starting to have some clear conscience, something bad happens. Our girl Stephanie from the beginning, well, she ended up dating Derek, our jerk friend. Virgil is still madly in love with her. She wants to get a cheerleading scholarship. She falls while cheerleading and she breaks her leg. And Virgil says we need to go save her. When Zeke and Charlie say no, he says, guys, we're the Minutemen, not the Weenie Men.
We are the Minutemen, not the Weenie Men.
And that really, really stuck with them. They were like, you're right. We're not the Weenie Men.
What did you call me? It was this is our story beat here because we had the fun time traveling experience. We saw the repercussions of it. And then now we have a personal agenda because Virgil be simping for Stephanie and says, I got to go save my girl's leg.
And he does.
Jump back in time. So again, this is another time travel logistic question. Nitpicks. Do they start in the basement and they're like, oh, okay, we have 10 minutes. We got to run to the football field and save Stephanie. Or do they, I don't think they choose where they could go. Can they?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think that was said. Because I think when they first test it out, don't they just go back 10 minutes? Or was it something else? Yeah.
They just go back 10 minutes.
We're just supposed to accept all that and it's all good. Whatever.
Yeah. But Virgil does save Stephanie, and Stephanie knows that it's Virgil. So she confronts him, says, I know it was you.
Oh, yeah. Because there's a Spider-Man moment because they have a face-to-face and Virgil's in his quote-unquote hero's costume. And she says, I know it's you. How'd you do it? Are you psychic? And then Virgil says, we're time travelers. And they say it at the same time. She's like, what? So mind is blown for Stephanie. And she's like, all right, that's in my back pocket now.
But bad news, Derek and the football team lose a game in the final seconds because a streaker came onto the field, distracted Derek. So he got sacked, lost the ball.
Okay. Quarterback chokes because of a streaker. Trash. Come on, dude.
Trash.
Get your head in the game. He was not built for this moment. And this is Chester. This is our nerd kid who got his clothes stolen. And I think he is rebelling and he decides to go streaking in his underwear. So it's the time travel repercussions affecting this new timeline. And Derek chokes the game because he's a garbage QB. And then Stephanie has a idea and a half and says, hey, Derek, guess what? Virgil and his friends have a time machine and they can go back and fix the game for you. So they make an agreement to do just that. And guess what, Nick? That straight up works. And we got our third Back to the Future reference here with the newspaper changing in real time because there's a girl named Jeanette who joins the crew. She's the guy in the chair sitting back, operating the time travel. In love with
Charlie, has this whole little dynamic going on, but yeah.
Yeah, so she's holding the newspaper and it says Somerton High loses state championship. It's a state championship, by the way, so it's very, very low attendance for that, which is sad.
Like 70 people in the stands for the state championship.
Would you run out of extra vouchers? Yeah, that's an industry joke. So they choke the game, but then the newspaper changes to they win the state championship, and Virgil is now popular. So let's go, baby.
Yeah, him and Derek are rekindling that friendship that fractured after the incident. Yeah, even though Derek just looks like a psychopath the whole time. He's like, yeah, we're friends again. Hey, buddy.
It's because he's cheating on Stephanie with Jocelyn.
Yeah, this guy's got...
Which is not so subtle.
This guy's gaslighting. He's a psychopath. He has zero remorse. He is quite literally a sociopath.
He is pretty mean. He's a meanie. I'll say that. But, Nick, this is a huge, huge nitpick for me.
Nitpicks.
God, so this just really took me out of the movie. This is a big nitpick for me, Nick. My question is, why the heck did you bring a tape of the failed game back in time? Because they explain it, and it's a very expository scene. They're showing Derek what the erased timeline was of when he lost the game and choked because of the streaker. And they say, see, it's because I have that time machine. And they say, oh, and the tape is still in existence because you took it with you back in time and it was on your body. And he says, yes. Why are you showing him this? Why are you giving him this information? Because if you just went back in time and fixed the game, it could have been, yeah, I did this for you, Derek. I don't need the credit. It's just, I did it for Stephanie, if anything.
He's simping.
But at the same time, he showed it to Derek to also show that he's a cool guy and he did it for him. So
because he wants to be popular. The whole movie, he's talking about things that'll make him popular, right? The lottery is so that he could be rich and popular, right? He still thinks if the incident didn't happen freshman year, he would have been on this popularity trajectory. And so he's still chasing that 3 years later. It's Virgil's main character flaw. It actually is in line with his character progression. I actually am not mad about this.
That's fine. That's fine. I just felt like it was super convenient and just a way for the screenwriters to write in an invitation for Virgil to go to a house party, which means he's going to bail on Charlie. Whamp, whamp.
Whamp, whamp. Yeah, so he bails. They're at a house party. Derek, like you said, he does cheat on Stephanie with this Jocelyn character. Virgil sees his chance to go in with Stephanie, but is, boom, friend-zoned.
Friend-zoned.
We have bigger problems, though.
Well, Charlie, by the way, he lives apparently directly across the street and is longing for Virgil outside. He's looking through his front door window and sees Virgil directly across the street dancing like a derp with Stephanie. And he's like, oh my gosh, I've been blown off for this daytime high school party. Daytime.
For Saturday.
So when would a state championship game? Would that be on a Saturday? Because that game was high noon, my friend.
It could have been on a Saturday. Yeah.
So was the lame daytime party on a Sunday after church?
Could have been. I don't know. There's also this great scene that's really funny where, because these are high school kids, right? And we went through high school. I hung out with, you call them popular kids, jocks, right? Played ball, hung out with nerdier kids, right? Just friends with everybody. And there's this scene where Virgil's telling Stephanie, it's great to be popular again. And Stephanie's going through this whole, it's not what it's cracked up to be. You know, Derek and I, we go to all the parties and all the hangouts. It's like, you are 18, like in high school. You do not have that many social engagements to go to. Shut your mouth. What are we talking about?
Yeah, they're acting like they're Hollywood actors going to press tours and
all these debutante balls,
premieres, and it's like, what? Your world is not that big.
So reality's being shattered, though. In the meantime, classic time travel, you use the time machine too much. Tears in the space-time continuum. Things aren't looking good. There's wormholes opening up. And Derek is a dirtbag because he wants Virgil to go back in time and stop Stephanie from catching him cheating. Not stop him from cheating, stop him from getting caught. And this is the sociopath part to me.
Yeah, so Stephanie actually calls Virgil while he's on an apology call with Charlie because he blew him off at the lame daytime party and says, oh, I got to go. Goes over to Stephanie's house, gives her some pasta, and gets friend-zoned again. And then meets up with Derek, and he's like, do you want me, can you help me out here, buddy? Like, we're cool now. And again, this is my big question. Why the heck did you show him, dirtbag Derek, that you had a time machine? And you know, he's not a good guy. He knew that. Virgil knew this. Virgil had hints that he was with Jocelyn, who was a trifling son of a gun over there.
Tried to commit murder in the diner.
Try to commit murder in the diner, and they say, oh, our time machine shenanigans are having ripple effects. And the same thing is happening with this movie. It's like the writers are saying, oh, we need this to happen so that this can happen, so that we can eventually get to this, and this can happen, and just provide no good reasoning for why things are happening. Why would you show him you had the time machine? It was so you can get invited to the party, so you can blow off Charlie, so you can blow off Charlie again to go console Stephanie. So you can have this dilemma that, do I go back in time to be popular and help out Derek, or do I do the right thing? Lame.
I agree with you. You know who else agrees with you that the gang is acting like a bunch of idiots? The feds.
FBI, because Virgil gets abducted off the street.
He gets a black car rolls up and he is gone.
Yeah, actually, it is a little war gamesy. The TVA nerds that you shouted out, one of them actually a super obese one. He's played by Jason Tatum, not the Boston Celtics guy, but just a different guy named Jason Tatum, and Tatum is spelled it slightly differently. But they're in on it. FBI gets in on it. And we are going to enter our super exposition scene because we get brought to some sort of unmarked location, and our main boys, they're also going through a little bit of a rift right now. The gang split up because of the time travel shenanigans and politics and choosing girls over friends. So there's a little bit of a rift in the dynamic, but the feds are going to explain all these things about what's happening. They use the term mainframe to refer to Charlie hacking into NASA.
Our mainframe. You're like, all
yeah.
right.
So when the mainframe dropped, the Disney kid audience was like, "Oh, stuff just got real."
We get this all is lost moment, right? The boys split up. I'm better off without you, you nerds, whatever. They split off, but Charlie comes to a terrible realization that the boys have created a black hole.
A black hole!
That will end the world in a few hours. And we're going to need to save the world. But, James, it's during the big high school dance, okay?
Which is our fourth Back to the Future reference because it's a 50s themed school dance. And Marty McFly went back to the 50s and his parents' high school. And it wasn't a 50s dance. It was just a dance back in the day. But it's a lot of homages to Back to the Future. And of course, during the dance, we got all these choices to make. We got, do we save the world? Do we help out Derek? Do I make right with Stephanie? I don't know. But this black hole, Nick, is going crazy on the football field. It's CGI. It's just sucking in the earth. With an hour to spare, the gang is going to reunite here. And we're going to try and make things right.
And James, I still don't know the plan. Charlie went to NASA. He says, I have a plan, but it's a long shot. But we never hear it. And we're going to go do something, but I still don't know the plan.
Yeah, just the kid's genius trope is killing me here because it's just like, oh, he's the only one in the room who knows a lick of what's going on here. And all these NASA scientists and engineers and smart guys and TVA agents, no one knows. And he says, oh, you didn't carry over 4 decibels. And our 2 bumbling TVA agents are like, oh, silly me.
Should have had a V8.
3 government branches involved, a room full of scientists, and 14-year-old Charlie is the only one who knows what's up.
They figured out, but we're gonna solve this. So our 3 heroes, we're gonna jump into this black hole, and we're gonna go back in time. And we're going to close this black hole. I don't know the plan. Jump in the black hole, go in time, close it, and then go back to the future.
Nice. We go back in time, obviously. And we actually have a Wizard of Oz reference because Virgil says, are we in Munchkin Land? Because they land in some playground. But no, they're just in their hometown. And Charlie whips out some doohickey, and he just whiz kids the situation. And apparently he's got this all lined up for a happy ending. Don't know why Virgil and Zeke had to go, because apparently Charlie had this in his bag.
The whole time.
He had it completely under control. We also understand that this is Incident Day. And we know it's Incident Day. This is the embarrassing day where Virgil and Charlie got strung up by the mascot with cheerleading outfits and makeup. And Virgil just picks up a random newspaper off a bench and says, oh my gosh, it's Incident Day. This is a nitpick. Nitpicks. What if that newspaper was from a week ago or yesterday? Someone just leaves a today's paper conveniently right next to where you crash landed into the past.
People, it's a time travel movie. People always have random papers laying around.
Newspapers galore, apparently.
Either that, or you have to run up to somebody random, grab them by the shoulders, and say, "What day is it?" And then that's your only 2 ways of figuring it out.
So, Nick, now we got a dilemma. Virgil, knowing that it's Incident Day, says, I can go and stop the instant, and I can avoid all of this crap, and we can just be cool, and I won't be associated with you nerds. So we go to the football field. This is that first time we see our past selves, like you were saying. Charlie and Zeke are telling him, you can't do it. You got to just stick with us. It was the best day of my life because I became friends with you. And then we get a little mic drop, walk away from Charlie. And Zeke says, you do what you got to do, man. as he mouth breathes into the camera.
But if you choose to change it, just know it's been a heck of a ride. You're like, my guy. Zeke's my guy.
Bros till the end. Charlie and Virgil, again, this is the time limit, because one of my questions about the movie was, how did they travel back? And they say we have to go back to where we dropped in before the black hole touches the ground. So they're racing against the clock. Apparently they ran miles to the school from where they were dropped off, because they say it's going to happen in 3 minutes. We're not going to make it. And then the day of the incident, Charlie had that rocket car. So the scene from the beginning where Charlie and Virgil are getting bullied and pushed around in that dog pile, there's a future Virgil in a snowsuit sneaking in through the background and hops in the rocket car, and he's going to pull up and pick up the crew, and they're just going to zoom on over to their destination to get back into the present, go back to the future.
They do something that I hate in a moment like this. We're on a time crunch, and they're going to take 30 seconds, 45 seconds to reconcile their friendship. And my guy, you don't have a second to spare. We can't spend 45 seconds reconciling here. We'll reconcile when we're out of danger, but we do make it back to reality, and we return to the time the day before the first time travel. So we kind of get clicked, right? In a sense where, it's not that it was all a dream, but none of the movie happened except for our three heroes. Virgil, with his newfound confidence, he tells off Derek, and it was very cringe. But then he rizzes up Stephanie. He straight gives her he just slides in like, hey, if I died tomorrow, my regret is that I'd never tell you how I feel. You're like, whoa, Virgil.
Ayo, Virgil. The not so virgin anymore.
Whoa.
Meanwhile, Charlie is addicted to super dangerous scientific world-breaking experiments, as now he wants to take on teleportation after mastering time travel. So he didn't learn his lesson.
No, but the crew did learn a lesson, which was that they never needed time travel. They just needed to be themselves the whole time. And I'll get into that later. But that's our movie, James. Finn.
That's Minutemen from 2008, directed by Lev L. Spyro the Dragon, with not a lot of information about this movie, or really much to go off of. It's pretty cut and dry. It's a made-for-TV, made-for-kids joint, and it has a little wholesome message at the end. But with what I brought up before, the AD and the BC of being a Disney Channel original movie after High School Musical, and I think for us personally, I don't know if it's nostalgia or just that they truly were built different back in the day. But what do you think about this movie post High School Musical? Do you think they actually put more money into it and said, oh, we're going to go and time travel and it's going to be a big thing? Or do you think it was just another run of the mill, hey, here we go, business as usual, we got to pump out the content, keep the viewership up?
I think it was a content pump. When did High School Musical come out?
2006.
Yeah, I think this was just, they obviously had some inspiration from it. Obviously, the way they were dressed, the bangs, the idea of high school and parties and social status. So you were hitting on a lot of the same things. I do think that Disney Channel probably went, again, I didn't watch a ton, but probably went more towards that high school drama route and away from the more fun, just kids story, like a 13th year sort of thing. So probably a lot of influence, but as far as the budget goes, no, I think Disney's smart enough to know when they strike gold once and not try to apply that to every single property. At least they were. They're not that way anymore. They are digging for gold everywhere they can these days.
And thinking about it, I can't recall, well, I guess a few, but there's not many CGI heavy DCOM movies, because you have the 13th year, like you said, there's going to be a lot of special effects makeup in that one. Miracle in Lane 2, that's all stunts. Brink,
Luck of the Irish,
stunts.
a little bit.
Luck of the Irish, that used some green screening for the shrinking. But yeah, there's not a lot that wanted to deal with CGI. So I think that was when the technology was advancing, and maybe it was a thing where it's not necessarily, hey, we have a lot more money and we can do this. It was probably the technology is more accessible and cheaper and passable for for audiences, because bear in mind, this is the same year that Iron Man came out. So that CGI still holds up today. And the difference between production for feature film CGI versus made for TV CGI is glaringly obvious with that black hole.
It's glaringly obvious, but if you're Disney and you're a Disney studio, that technology's still getting passed down right through the organization. So you're getting you might be 2 or 3 years behind on the software that's being passed down, but you still have, Disney's still licensing software for all this. So the CGI honestly wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen for a made for TV movie. I thought it was fine.
Their time travel vortex was actually completely fine. Didn't really have a huge egregious problem with it. The black hole is a little bit more obvious, but yeah.
Yeah. It looked like a Microsoft desktop screensaver from like Windows Emmy.
Yeah,
so
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. But in general, it wasn't the worst CGI I've seen.
Not the worst CGI, and it's going to have some worst, and it's going to have some best, because, Nick, now we need to move on to our awards section. This is our mini pops, where we hand out some accolades and some doo-doos. And, Nick, kind of not in line with our traditional categories, but duty calls, the pod calls. Do you have a nomination for the best weapon? Not a lot of weapons in this movie.
Not a ton of weapons at all. I think the only thing, and we talked about this before we hit record, the only thing that
struggling
caused any physical harm was the football Derek threw at the very beginning.
Yeah, because he concussed Charlie off the rocket cart, and that's what caused the whole incident to happen. And the only other thing I could think of was Jocelyn moving the wet floor sign, because Eugene, again, can't express this enough, almost killed himself.
So close to death.
Crack to the skull, a brain leaking out of his head, all over the burger joint. That was bad, Jocelyn. You gotta be better than that. But I think the only thing that caused any physical harm and damage and was significant to the plot was Derek's football at the not so impressive football practice.
All right, James, same vein. Going to be tough to find somebody. Who's your best fighter in this movie?
So Derek and Virgil almost had some sort of fight in the hallway when it was coming down to it. And Derek says, so what? Are you going to help me out or what? I don't know why it had to be on the same exact night as they were trying to save the world. But he's like, nah, man, I got to go stop this black hole. I don't have time for your side quest right now. Even if I did, we're all going to get sucked into a black hole. Based on the evidence and punches thrown and footballs thrown, I think I would go with Derek, because he is the one who threw the football at Charlie, and he kind of wanted the smoke. But of course, the FBI and CIA and Department of Weights and Measures, or whatever that third guy was, came in and broke up the fight. I would put Derek up there, because he was the one who threw the football, and he wants to smoke, but he ain't ready for it.
Derek it is, and I can't wait to see him get absolutely scraped in the best fighter bracket.
Tune in at the end of the year, everybody. It's going to be a good one, because these guys are going through a gauntlet. And speaking of characters and best and worst, Nick, do you have a MVC of this movie, most valuable character?
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Zeke. I loved his dynamic in the movie. I think he was the steady presence for our gang the whole time. He was ride or die, man. He was a ride or die homie the entire time, never complained, wanted to do his own thing, didn't ask a lot of questions. He was just in it to win it. Never did anything for himself. Everyone else was using the time machine a little bit for themselves. Not Zeke, man. He's a man of character. He's a man of great mechanical skill for a high school kid to weld together a time machine. So it's Zeke for me.
I had early thoughts of that as well when he first came into the movie. I was maybe going to lean Charlie, because a lot of the plot is because of him. So I think he's important to the story itself. But, man, Zeke doesn't have much flaws, man. He just comes in. He's mouth breathing all over you, standing a foot above everybody, does his job, is there, is a good friend, says at the end, it was a heck of a ride if you decide otherwise, but you do what you got to do. So he was just a chill guy and a super valuable part of the crew. So I think Zeke is our MVC of Minutemen. Without swearing, Nick.
Yeah. No,
Remember our goal.
Trust me. Yeah, I figured this out. Who is our biggest piece of poopy?
Our biggest piece of doo-doo, I have two. The one I'm going to bring to the forefront is going to be our fake dean, because he lets the children of his school get bullied and actively sees it in the hallway and just walks by, brushes it off, and says, everybody's got their place, and if we jump out of line, then what's holding our reality together? And I thought, wow, that was a really big old piece of doo-doo move on you, fake dean. The second nom is Derek.
Psychopath.
He has a lot of bad decisions in this movie.
I think he's just more manipulative than anything. He's manipulating Stephanie. He's manipulating Virgil. The whole time he's saying, I didn't want to be a part of the incident. And then when Virgil goes back and sees it, I mean, Derek was leading the charge. You're like, wow, this guy has zero remorse. Honestly, sociopath. Zero empathy. I do want to add one more person to the list, just for funsies here, James. Robot guy.
Yeah, he cashed a lotto ticket.
Cashed a lotto ticket that some kids gave to him. Didn't even throw him a bone. Just kind of moonwalked out of there and went right to the Mercedes dealership and cashed it in. And didn't even acknowledge these kids' existence.
Isn't that a little bit baller? And wouldn't you do the same if you were just a struggling street performer?
How much is the lottery worth? If we're talking the Powerball, if you just won $400 million, you're telling me you couldn't throw those kids a bone?
Nah, dog. He's like, I don't know. I don't know you guys.
He just kind of, and he's out. Doesn't even.
No, that's a pretty poo-poo thing to do. But I think compared to Vice Principal and Derek, it's one of those two. Derek, I thought, you could chalk it up to him being a little bit on the dumber side and not seeing the repercussions of his actions. But the point you brought up when they go back to the past and it's revealed, he actually, because he says, it wasn't, I tried to stop it. And then you go back and you see, no, he brings out the lipstick and says, let's put him on the nerd. And then it goes back to him saying, cover up for me, for Stephanie. And I'm cheating on Jocelyn. I just need you to stop her from catching me.
Yeah, it's the lack of remorse.
A little doofusy, but Derek, biggest POS of this movie for sure. For sure.
I agree.
Nick, a bonus award that doesn't come often, but when it does, it's very nice. We have a nomination for Best Yeet, and my nomination is going to be the cat yeet. When they yeet the cat into the time vortex.
It's a great yeet.
With that, Nick, we're going to transition into our sarcastic selling points and wrap up this DCOM joyride. I'm going to go first. My sarcastic selling point for Minutemen is Back to the Future wannabe for kids.
Oh, well, yeah, we're just in the same boat. I said cheesy high school Back to the Future.
It writes itself.
Final review. Fight.
Final review time. We got to get into what the other guys are saying, and then we'll get into what we think about this movie that we never heard of. Starting out with Rotten Tomatoes, the critics, NA, not here. Rotten Tomatoes critics don't have a score.
But the people have a score, and it is a 67%.
Wow. Is that a popcorn bucket standing up? Not the spelt corn, right?
That's a upright popcorn bucket.
Okay. Well, let's see what Metacritic has cooking up. The critics, also NA, don't have a score for this. TBD over there.
Wow, that sucks for the critics because the people also don't have a score on this one. This was not Metacritic quality.
Yikes. And now for our time traveling,
social class unraveling.
Robot Guy stole my lotto ticket score. Brought to you by a black hole from IMDb, a 5.8. Woo! Did we go back in time and write that together? And then
it's the only way it works.
Week after week we do this, and we're going to keep on doing it because I need you to hit me with your laughable log line, some popcorn points, and just a quick summary of your final thoughts.
Absolutely. My laughable log line, short and sweet, is 3 nerds try to change the past, but surprise, they're still nerds. And this is a 3.1 from me, James, believe it or not. I know this is a cardinal sin for us on this podcast, but I gave our last year's DCOM special where we did 2 movies, Horse Sense and Jumping Ship. I gave that, I believe, a 2.9 and a 3. And this, James, was a little bit better. The acting was bad. The story pacing was awful. The convenience, the plot holes, the subject matter was not explored in any way, shape, or form. But I do want to say this. Unlike Horse Sense and Jumping Ship, I liked the message of this movie. When it comes to kid movies, I think that's important. Because throughout the movie, when they're going back and saving these kids from their embarrassing moments and helping the nerds, I was sitting there thinking to myself, why don't you just stand up for the kid in the moment? Wouldn't that be more meaningful instead of going back and changing the past? And you find out through the movie that they're saying going back and changing the past is actually a bad thing. The things that happen to you are supposed to happen, and it's how you respond and your character in the moment. And I like that message for the kids. So, we talked about CGI, passable for a TV movie. Acting, not good. Writing, DCOM writing is what you're going to get. All of it's pretty substandard across the board, but I liked the message enough where it gets a 3.1 from me. And it's honestly quite, that 3.1 on a DCOM movie from me is pretty high praise. So this wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Not great, but passable with a 3.1.
All righty. Well, are you ready for my laughable logline and my popcorn points and my final thoughts?
Hit me with it.
My laughable logline for Minutemen is: a friend-zoned high schooler teams up with a nerd kid and a mouth-breathing grease monkey to time travel back in time to become unfriend-zoned. Nick, shockingly similar scores here. I am giving this a 3.2 for very, very opposite reasons of you, actually, because you kept it real last year with your hatred of Horse Sense and Jumping Ship. And I'm actually trying to correct my scores and recalibrate my scores because I don't want to. I might have made some outrageous scores in the past where I gave something a 6.5 and it should have been a 2. Or maybe I had an 8. It should have been a 6. Horse Sense, Jumping Ship, I can't get pigeonholed and use those as barometers, so I'm trying to update my calibration. And this is an accurate 3.2. I think for Horse Sense and Jumping Ship, I gave it a little bit of a higher score. I think because of the acting, honestly, because the Lawrence brothers are about that life. I think they got some charm. Their characters are totally outrageous, especially Michael Woods in those 2 movies. And the acting in this movie, I just thought it wasn't there. I thought the quality wasn't there. And again, is it my nostalgia going to work, or is it just, no, it's true. This is actually not that good as far as the production. So my problems with the movie is many things. So the message, like you said, it's a good message. Message in Horse Sense and Jumping Ship had a message, but totally went against it at the last minute in both movies, which is really funny to me. Was shockingly similar. But just like the things that they were explaining in this movie where things just had to happen so that the next thing can happen. Terrible writing. Really bad writing there. Awful acting. I mean, there are age-appropriate kids, which is great, but I'm not being sold. You're not convincing me that this is a real thing. I'm just sitting there watching people on screen say things and have ridiculous things happen. And it's not, there's no so bad it's good enjoyment there for me. It's just I'm watching this movie play out and it's literally made for kids. They go through the thing where the nerd kids that they saved from embarrassment, how did they change their entire personality off one avoided instance of embarrassment? Because let's take Chester, for example. So he got his clothes stolen, goes up, gets super embarrassed, is scarred for probably life. And then when they go into the new timeline, they give him some new clothes, and all of a sudden he's got this new attitude and this new swag. And he's like, "Yo, get off my jock!" And he, one part that actually made me laugh, he was walking up to these group of cool kids in the hallway and says, and he still has his nerd voice, even though he's acting like he's a G. he says, according to my calculations, you're in my way. And then he pushes them out of the way. And that got a genuine laugh from me because it was ridiculous. But Eugene, he got his head uncracked from the floor because he never took a fatal spill to the ground. And all of a sudden he is too cool for school. He's texting on his phone. He's ignoring stuff. And I think it's because he caused Stephanie's leg to break. I think it was like a hacky sack thing. He was out there too. So it tied into the plot, but you just made up a reason that he was apparently had unlimited confidence. And same with Chester. They are just completely different people from this one changed instance that they wouldn't even know the difference. If they said, hey, like your clothes got stolen, here's your clothes, carry on with your day. No, Chester's like, I'm about that life. I'm about these streets. I got a dollar chain on me. And what about the Sea Protector kid from the montage? Did he turn into a giant piece of crap too? Because he had a toilet seat cover, not a dress. Why is Robot Man still a robot after winning the lottery? Nick, you provided an answer to that, but
yeah,
you're
being too judgmental on this guy.
It's a tough sell. There's also no resolution with the contention between Virgil and Derek because Derek says, can you help me out, man, and be a real bro? And Virgil says, no, I can't. I got to do the right thing. And then he's about to go into the black hole. And then but first off, their confrontation gets broken up by the 3 government agents that are there. And then later, Derek just says to Virgil, hey, good luck, before he goes into the black hole. And he says, and we're all good. Looks at Stephanie and says, on everything. And then we're like, okay, I guess problem solved there. But there's just a whole lot of things that happened that needed to happen for the plot to move along. And that's a big issue for me. It's not endearing enough for me to enjoy it and watch it again like I would So Bad It's Good movies. Pretty flat, pretty empty calories. This is going to fall in that 3 zone, which is going to be a bag of kernels from me and from you. So that's going to average out to a bag of kernels for this movie. Wah, wah.
As it should. You brought up a good point there. They have that resolution at the end a little bit, but then they end up ending the movie back in time, so that resolution never happens.
Yeah, you undo the resolution, and then he becomes a cool guy and tells off Derek, and then rizzes up Stephanie, and then we're like, okay, Virgil is a OG.
Yeah, do you think this was one of those movies where they came up with the title before they had the movie? They were like, Minutemen. Oh, it's just going to be a time travel movie. And then they just worked backwards from that, and that's why they were okay with all the plot holes, because there's no way you started with the actual script first. It would have had so many more answers. This feels like a title before.
I think this started with the script. I think time travel movies are insane. It's hard to get right, and there's going to be tons of plot holes. And I think they just looked at each other and said, "Let's make a time travel movie," because frick it.
Yeah, the concept was there before anything else. They were like, "Well, time travel movie. What are we going to call it?" Minutemen. Oh, I love it. Get started on the script, Jerry. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and then that's how these things happen.
Wait a minute, man! It's Minutemen, and that was our review. Like what I did there. Oh my gosh! All right,
thumbnail shot.
Shock. I hate those. So that's our review. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for making dumb faces with me, Nick. And hey, pat on the back for no swears. I can actually not click that thing that this is explicit. So wow, we out here doing some family friendly stuff. We can actually be clean and be funny at the same time. So we thank you guys for listening. Please follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Just Play It Podcast. We are on X, aka Twitter, at Just Play It Pod. And you're going to want to tune in next time. We're going to take a little bit of a break here, give ourselves a couple weeks to readjust, but we're coming back hard. We are coming hard over here. That is COMING. Because when we return, it's going to be spooky season. Yes, that is right. Oh. Already spooky season. We're watching a movie from the 80s. It's been an answer on our quiz. If you're a true blue listener and you listened a couple weeks ago, you'll know what we're talking about.
People better tune in, because if you don't, the results could be fatal.
If that's not an attractive ploy for you to listen to us, then I don't know what is. So that is it for us. We are heading gone, and remember, If you're thinking about building a time machine in the fallout bunker of your school, you better hope you got a cat around so you can just yeet it into the vortex. Thank you for listening. Signing off, Minutemen!
You think maybe you could just bring us food to our table?
You bet.
Way to go, Eugene.